Good evening. My name is Kevin Fleming. I'm a police sergeant, the leader of a large multi-agency SWAT team, and I'm here to speak in opposition to Senate Bill 1076. This bill does nothing to promote public safety and is clearly written in order to punish law-abiding gun owners as if we are somehow responsible for what happened in Sandy Hook. Changing the definition of an assault weapon from 2 characteristics to 1 does not address any public safety issue at all. All it does is tell the public that the state isn't willing to make the harder changes, like improving mental health services. So we're just going to tell people that they can't have a pistol grip on their rifle, and that will make everything okay. The key to solving this problem is not the type of gun or what it looks like. It is limiting criminals and the mentally unstable and other prohibited persons from access in the first place. In Connecticut and in the rest of the U.S., a person has a better chance of being hit by lightning than they do by being shot by a rifle. So if you want to mandate something, I suggest start mandating that prosecutors actually prosecute violent criminals instead of dismissing charges as fast as they can, which any officer you speak to can attest to. The mandatory and yearly registration of every firearm is an unnecessary burden on both the citizen and the state and will not increase public safety in any way. The state already has a record of all handguns sold at both retail and privately, and of all rifles sold at retail. Assuming the state passes a universal background check law, they will then have an accounting of every single gun sold in this state. Furthermore, there are already systems in place through the State Police Firearms Unit to alert both the gun owner and the local police if a person becomes ineligible to own a firearm due to an arrest, issuance of a protective order, etc. Mandating the re-registration of already registered guns is completely unnecessary and quite expensive. The State Police Firearms Unit is currently backlogged by 90,000 firearms transactions, and the state would be more than duplicating this every single year, which is a workload that it already can't keep up with. This was already tried in Canada when they mandated the registration of every gun starting in 1993. The bill's writers promised it would cost $2 million a year. That quickly skyrocketed to over $60 million a year, and the law and the registry were abandoned in 2012 after the Canadian government called it a waste of $2 billion and no measurable change in the firearm-related crime rate. One of the reasons I own firearms is to teach my children responsibility. Not only responsible gun ownership, but the value of living responsibly day to day so that they can continue enjoying the freedoms our founding fathers fought for. If this bill becomes law, I will be unable to pass my guns down to my children when I'm gone. My sporting rifles that I hunt with will be sold out of state or destroyed, instead of being the family heirlooms I intend them to be. And we will have taught my children that in Connecticut, we punish good people for the crimes of others, and that living in a responsible manner does not matter because the state treats us all like criminals anyway. My suggestions: first, enforce the current laws as they exist. Enact severe mandatory minimums on all violent crime, and talk to something that Senator Hartley mentioned many hours ago. She mentioned having some skin in the game. I have more skin in the game than anybody else here. Me and my guys and the other SWAT guys in this state, we are the ones that you call and the cops call when someone is the most violent or the most aggressive or the most heavily armed. So I know when my phone rings in the middle of the night, where I'm going, there is an armed citizen or an armed suspect with 100% certainty, because they don't call us unless the guy is armed. So if I felt that these laws would keep me or my guys safe, I would not be here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Questions, comments, Senator?
Yeah, so Kevin, I'm just curious, so in what capacity are you being called? You are a SWAT team for the state police?
No, I'm a municipal officer.
You're a municipal police officer?
I work in the greater Hartford area, and I'm the leader of a 9-agency regional SWAT team that covers the west and north of Hartford.
Is that part of the state police task force?
It's called the North Central Region. It's 9 towns. It's north of and west of Hartford.
So it's a combination of municipalities?
Yeah, municipalities pool funds to come up with expensive things. Like Farmington doesn't need its own SWAT team. Every once in a while they need one, so they and a number of other towns will pool their resources to come up with one.
And so then your regular assignment is like within the municipality?
Yeah, I am generally a patrol sergeant.
In Hartford?
I don't work in Hartford.
But, sorry, I'm just trying.
Yeah, I'm a patrol sergeant, and as my part-time job, I guess you would call it, is the leader of that team.
I see. And so then, as a member of a highly trained, specialized unit, you go through, I would think, some rigorous training and then retraining.
We do. SWAT school is a little pretty intense, and then we train 8 hours twice a month.
On a regular basis.
Yeah, every month.
Yeah. Well, listen, thank you for your service, and also for being here tonight.
My pleasure.
Further questions, comments?
Representative.
Thank you. And I also thank you for your service and what you do to try to keep us all safe, and for your testimony. Question I have, you're obviously a top expert in this field with firearms and marksmanship and so forth. I've heard this statistic a number of times. I've heard it from some of my constituents back home, and have heard it at least a couple of times here today. The statistic that a trained police officer only hits his target 20% of the time. So 1 out of 5 times when what I hear is the police officer will hit its target when in a situation where, you know, I assume it's in a situation where he or she has to act quickly, not just when they're at the range. Is that an accurate statistic?
That is very accurate. My understanding is actually a little less. It's in like the 17% range. Yeah, that is accurate. In fact, I would say that most of these people here who are firearms enthusiasts are better shooters than your average cop. Significantly better.
Here, here.
And I trained a lot of those cops, so it is what it is.
That's interesting in and of itself. So
There's a reason why people are so adamantly opposed to large capacity magazine bans. It is because they know under those conditions of a life-threatening stress, where you're losing fine motor skills and you have auditory and visual exclusion and such, your abilities to hit a moving target on demand is significantly reduced, regardless of your level of training. So the average cop is going to miss 4 out of those 5 rounds are going to miss. That's a historical precedent, and citizens are going to have the same encounter. Furthermore, handguns are incredibly underpowered. You know, we've all seen movies, and I sort of feel like a lot of these laws are aimed at people who just watch movies. But you watch movies and handguns stop people. In reality, handguns do not. Cops carry handguns for that immediate threat that they have no chance to prepare for. If they're going to prepare for it, they go get their rifle, because that gives them some ability to hit more accurately and deliver that stopping power that they need. So most people who are shot with handguns are not killed, and most of those bullets that are fired are missed, which is why they are so opposed to magazine bans.
thank you again.
You're welcome.
Further comments? I'd like to get your position on that. There's been some discussion on, on a federal level with teachers having the right to bear arms in schools. And you brought up the point before, the 20% with law enforcement. And then also with the understanding that a law enforcement bullet, if you want to get into the technicality, might be a little different, how it won't spray compared to some other bullets, such as a teacher might have, if we went ahead and let them have a gun in their school. So if cops have a 20% accuracy, what would a teacher have with a gun in a school?
I'm not in support of having armed teachers. Teachers are teachers because they want to educate, and if you're going to be proficient in that sort of skill set, it has to be something that you have a calling for. So if you're going to, perhaps there may be the occasional teacher who is a gun enthusiast, and you may allow that one person, but in general, I am not in favor of having armed teachers.
Thank you.